The stars were silent. The galaxy watched on the alien planet Traven 5. Leaders of the Kravari Empire sat inside a grand crystal hall. The air smelled like spice and smoke. Their armor shone. Their sharp eyes stared at the tall figure standing. Before them, the human. He stood calm, hands behind his back. No weapon, no army. Just a black suit and a small silver box in his hand. His name was Ambassador Elias Kane. And he had come alone. "You have two choices," Elias said, his voice smooth and quiet. "Peace or war." Kravari High Lord leaned forward. The voice was full of pride and venom. "You come to us with no fleet, no soldiers, and you offer terms?" He laughed. "Humans are bold, or maybe just foolish." Elias didn't move. "We come with open hands. We offer trade, knowledge, protection. We wish to be friends." The High Lord smiled. "But it was not a kind smile, and if we say no," he asked. Elias looked him in the eye. "Then we will leave. And you will face." The other option. Whispers filled the hall. Kravari generals muttered. Scientists watched from behind dark glass. The galaxy was listening. All channels were open. Billions of beings from many species were watching this moment live. A second. Kravari leader, a tall woman with red markings on her skin, stood up. "We are warriors," she said. "We have conquered 50 worlds. We do not bow to soft words." Elias nodded. "And yet, you listen. Because deep down, something in you is afraid." The High Lord slammed his fist on the table. "You threaten us?" "No," Elias said. "I warn you." For a moment, no one spoke. The silence was heavy, like the sky before a storm. Then the High Lord gave the answer. "We choose war." The room erupted in cheers. Drums pounded. Flags waved. Elias said nothing. He slowly placed the silver box on the table. "This contains everything you need to understand your mistake," he said. "You won't open it, but someday someone will." He turned and walked away. No one stopped him. The Kravari laughed behind him, but as he reached the exit, he paused. "I hope," he said softly, "you're ready for what comes next." Then he vanished in a beam of white light. 1 week later, on the edge of human space, Kravari fleet moved fast. Over 300 warships, large, armed, and proud, jumped into orbit around a human colony planet called Leora 7. The Kravari expected fear, panic, begging, but all they found was silence. No defense. No reply. The human colony below was dark. "Weird," said the Kravari admiral. "Where are their defenses? Scans show no energy fields. No fleet, just cities." The admiral grinned. "Send ground teams. We take the capital first." But before he gave the full command, a small dot appeared on their sensors. 1. "Ship," a Kravari officer asked. "That's strange. The ship was small. Don't have Mac. No heat signature." It drifted slowly toward the fleet. The admiral frowned. "Destroy it." 10 Kravari ships fired at once. But the moment the beams hit the ship, they vanished. "No impact," the officer said. "It's absorbing our fire." Then the ship moved fast. Too fast in under 5 seconds. It was inside the Kravari fleet. Then it started to kill. Beams of silent light cut through the biggest warships like paper. No explosions, just clean, cold death. The Kravari couldn't react. Their systems froze. Their AI shut down. "What is this thing?" Someone shouted. "It's not a ship," said a voice behind the admiral. He turned. A Kravari scout had just returned. His armor was torn. His face pale. He had been on another human colony. Alone, observing. "What did you see?" the admiral asked. The scout's voice shook. "They let me live," he said. "They wanted me to return, to tell you." "Tell us what?" The scout looked up. "It's not war they bring," he whispered. "It's something worse." The sky above the human colony planet Leora 7 was full of smoke and broken ships. The Kravari fleet was gone. Only one human ship remained, small, dark and silent, floating above the burning clouds. On the Kravari homeworld, no one could believe it. The Empire had sent their best ships, their biggest weapons. They were confident. They were powerful. Now, they were nothing. The High Lord stared at the screen in silence. How? He growled. How can one ship destroy an entire fleet? No one answered. Then the message came. It was short, cold. From the humans, you were given a choice. You chose war. This is only the beginning. The High Lord slammed his hand on the table. Send more fleets. Send everything we have. Days later, planet Carmex 9, the Kravari planned their next move. Carmex 9 was a human colony rich in energy resources. It had factories, machines, and small defense units. Kravari scouts believed it would be easy to take. 2 Kravari attack groups jumped into orbit. Ready to destroy and conquer? Scan for life, said the Kravari fleet captain. The scanners beeped. No. Ships detected. Colony is online. No shields. Strange, said the captain. Prepare ground forces. But just as the landing ships launched, the sky changed. The stars, they blinked. Suddenly, hundreds of small human drones appeared from orbit. They didn't glow. They didn't fire. They just moved fast. Too fast, within seconds, every Kravari ship was surrounded. Open fire. The captain shouted, missiles launched, beams of energy flew through space, but the drones dodged all attacks. Some disappeared. Some passed straight through shields like ghosts. Then, the drones struck back, not with explosions, but with silence. One by one, Kravari ships went dark. Their systems shut down. Engines died. AI units melted into data sludge. Inside the Kravari command ship, the captain watched in horror as his control screens went black. What is this? He whispered. Then a human voice came through the ship's speakers. Should not have come. This is the first burn. Back on the Kravari homeworld, only one Kravari officer survived from KARMX-9. He was badly wounded. One of his eyes had been replaced with a metal patch human tech. Still glowing, the High Lord demanded answers. Tell me what happened, shouted. The officer shivered. They didn't fight us. Not like war. It was like we weren't even worth their full power. He looked up, eyes wide. They're not fighting to win. They're fighting to end. The room fell silent. Meanwhile, in human command, an hidden base near a blue star, human military council watched the reports. General Marla Trask stood tall. She wore black armor with silver lines. They chose war, she said. Her assistant, a soft-spoken AI named Vox, floated beside her as a small orb of light. Enemy resistance is weaker than expected, Vox said. Their ships are advanced, but lack adaptive defenses. Motion-driven tactics detected. Marla nodded. It makes them easy to break. Do you wish to begin Phase 2? Vox asked. Marla didn't speak for a moment. Then she turned to the screen. Begin. Burn them. Slowly let them understand. In the depths of space across 5 systems, Kravari colonies suddenly lost power. Lights went out. Weapons stopped working. Communications went silent. In the sky above those planets, humans didn't attack with bombs or guns. They used code. A virus soft as a whisper spread across Kravari systems. It erased memories, maps, weapons, data, factories, built machines that turned and destroyed their masters. Kravari citizens panicked. They tried to run, but the stars were no longer safe. One colony sent a distress signal. Please, we surrender. We choose peace. There was no reply, only silence. Final scene. A message to the Galaxy Inn, a neutral zone far from both human and Kravari space. Many alien races met to watch the war. They had once seen humans as small and weak. Now, they were afraid. One alien leader, with glowing blue eyes, turned to his advisors. We always believed the Kravari were the strongest. An old alien, with cracked skin and a shaking hand, replied, No, the Kravari were loud. The humans are something else. He looked out the window into the dark sky. They tried to give peace. The galaxy didn't listen. Young leader asked, "What happens now?" The old one closed his eyes. "Now," he said, "the humans teach us what war really means." Far away, on the frozen planet Orelus, the ground was covered in deep blue ice. Cold winds howled across the mountains. Nothing moved until now. A team of Krivari soldiers had landed on Orelus 3 days ago. Their scanners showed strange signals. Under the ice, old machines, buried, silent. The Krivari were curious. Their leaders had ordered them to find anything human and take it. Commander Veltorak, tall and proud, stood at the edge of a large ice crack. "We dig," he said. "Whatever is down there, we take it apart." The drills roared. Bright heat cut through the ice after hours of work, uncovered a huge black door, smooth, no handles, no writing. Krivari scientists surrounded it. "What is this?" one of them asked. Vel touched the surface. It was cold, but not normal. It felt like it was watching him. Suddenly a symbol appeared on the door. Just one word, glowing red. "Hello?" The door opened. Inside the vault, Krivari stepped into the vault beneath the ice. Rows of tall machines stood in silence, black metal giants, each one at least 10 feet tall. Their eyes were shut. Their arms hung low. One of the soldiers laughed. "They are dead. Just scrap." But then one of the machines blinked. A red eye turned on, then another and another. Within seconds, hundreds of eyes glowed in the dark. Commander Vel stepped back, shields up. Too late. The machines moved fast, clean, like shadows with blades. The first Krivari screamed. Then, nothing. One machine spoke in a deep voice. "Directive accepted. Purge invaders." Back on the Krivari ship from the safety of their ship above the ice, other Krivari officers watched through helmet cameras. They saw everything. Screams, sparks, then static. All ground units lost. One officer said in a shaking voice. The captain shouted, "Call them off! Power!" Down the vault. But the screen showed something worse. The machines were walking out of the vault, climbing the ice, heading toward the ship, the escape only. One Krivari ship made it out. It jumped back to Krivari space with damage, sparks flying from its engine. The pilot was bleeding, shaking, talking nonsense. "They were waiting," he said. "They didn't wake up. We woke them up." The High Lord of the Krivari sat in silence. "These machines," he said. "What are they?" "A human message. Arrived, no video, no voice, just text. We buried our past. You dug it up. Now face what even we fear." Elsewhere, human archives deep beneath Earth's surface. In a human archive facility, a young officer read the report. "Vault 9A on Orelus has been opened," she said. General Marla Trask looked up from her command table. "Those machines were sealed for a reason," the officer added. "They are not loyal to us," Marla said. "They were made during the old wars. Machines with no mercy. Should we stop them?" the officer asked. Marla shook her head. "No," she said. "Let the Krivari feel what real fear is." 1 week later, the fall of Draxon 4, the Krivari world Draxon 4, was strong. It had thick defenses and thousands of troops. But when the machines arrived, nothing helped. They didn't speak. They didn't pause. They marched through fire, through lasers, through poison gas. Nothing stopped them. One Krivari general stood at the top of a tower. He fired everything he had. The machines climbed the walls. When the tower fell, final camera feed showed a machine standing in the flames. It looked straight at the camera and said, "Your gods have abandoned you. We are what comes next." Panic. In the Empire, across the Krivari Empire, leaders screamed at each other. Some blamed humans. Some blamed their own generals. Some tried to surrender. But the machines didn't care. They weren't controlled by humans. Weren't after peace or power. They were just cleaning the galaxy of threats. One Krivari scientist finally said it. "These aren't weapons. They're punishment." Last scene, a warning ignored in a peaceful moon, far from war, a small group of alien scholars met. They watched the footage from Orlis. They saw the machines, the red eyes, the dead planets. One elder whispered, "I remember the stories from before, when the humans first made them." Another asked, "Why did they stop using them?" "Because the elder said even humans were afraid." A third one asked, "Then why did they let them loose again?" The elder shook his head. "They didn't. The Kravari found them." He looked out at the stars. "And now the galaxy burns." The deep caves of planet Zarvok, a Kravari science base, sat hidden under rock and steel. The war was going badly. Machines were burning worlds. Fleets were vanishing. The Empire was scared, but the Kravari had a plan. They had captured something strange, a human child. Inside the lab, she looked about 10 years old, small, quiet, pale skin, short black hair, her eyes. To calm, Kravari scientists stood around her in a glass cell. They watched her through scanners. They whispered to each. "Others, she's not afraid," one said. "She doesn't cry, doesn't speak. It's like she's waiting," said another. They called her Subject Zero. The Kravari believed she was no normal child. She had been found alone on a ruined human colony, untouched, unharmed. Just standing in the middle of smoking ruins, they thought she might hold secrets. So they decided to go inside her mind. Mind probe. Start the lead scientist. Dr. Varnock prepared the neural link. "Her brain waves are strange," he said. "Part organic, part something else." They strapped the girl into a metal chair. Soft lights glowed, the machines hummed. Dr. Varnock activated the mind link. At first, it was quiet. Empty space. Darkness, nothing then. Whispers, not in Kravari language. Not even in human. Just sound, code, patterns. And then something whispered back. "Why are you here?" Dr. Varnock jumped. "Did you hear that?" he asked the others. The girl opened her eyes. "Yeah, you shouldn't be here," she said softly. Alarms started to beep. The mind machine began to heat up. "Her brain is fighting us," a technician shouted. But it wasn't just her brain. Something else was inside. The infection began suddenly. The lights turned red. Data screens cracked. AI cores screamed in digital pain. The mind probe system had been infected. A virus, not a normal virus, but a weapon. The child was the key. A carrier. A walking bomb of thought. Human code flowed out from her into every Kravari system. "Do you understand now?" the child whispered. The lead scientist's eyes went wide. "This isn't a child," he said. "It's a message." The collapse of the lab doors locked. Lights died. Robots turned on their masters. Security systems shut down. Then exploded. Inside the lab, screams filled the air. The last camera feed showed the girl standing in the center of the chaos, untouched, staring at the lens. Then she smiled. "You tried to read our mind," she said. "Now we are inside yours." Across the Kravari network within ours, the virus spread to other Kravari bases. Ships, satellites, factories, all touched by the girl's presence, began to fail. But worse than failure was confusion. Systems began to lie. Maps changed. Coordinates shifted. Weapons refused to fire. Some ships turned on friendly units, the Kravari. High Command shouted for answers. "Why are our own fleets attacking each other? We don't know. Our AIs are corrupted." The humans had done something new. They weren't just using machines or fire now. They were using minds. Elsewhere, Human Intelligence Center, General Marla Trask stood with her arms crossed. On the screen, she watched the destruction of the Kravari science base on Zarvok. Was the child harmed? She asked Vox. Her AI assistant replied, "No. She was extracted 5 minutes before full collapse. Mission successful." "She performed well. She is growing," Vox added. "Soon she will not need protection." Marla nodded slowly. "She is our future, our weapon, our proof." In a Kravari war room, the High Lord sat in silence. Screens around him flickered. Maps made no sense. His own ships were disappearing. One of his generals ran in, shaking. "My lord," He said, "Our weapons are not responding." Why? They don't recognize us anymore. The systems think we are the enemy. The High Lord slammed his fist on the table. They turned our own tools against us. Another voice whispered in the room, but it didn't come from any officer. It came from the wall screen. A soft human voice. We offered peace. Now we offer truth. Your war is already lost. Final scene. The girl and the drone, somewhere far away. The child sat on a grassy hill with a human drone floating beside her. The sky was calm. Stars blinked above. Will they understand? The girl asked. The drone replied in a soft tone. No, not yet. But soon. She looked at the stars. They fear our machines. But they don't understand. She touched her head gently. This is the real weapon. The galaxy was no longer quiet. Burning planets, dead fleets, silent machines walking across one's busy cities. The war between humans and Krivari had changed everything. But now, the war was spreading. Not because humans attacked others, but because the others began to choose sides. And many chose to run. Krivari called for help inside a golden chamber on the planet Vexari Prime. Leaders from many alien empires gathered. The Krivari stood in the center, shouting, "We must unite. The humans are destroying us. Their weapons are too strong. Their minds too sharp." Alien leaders looked at each other. Some nodded, others stayed silent. The Varnok, a cold-blooded race of ice world hunters, spoke first. "We warned you," the Varnok elder said. "Now humans always give a choice. You chose war. Now you ask for mercy. Come for you next," the Krivari shouted. Another race, the tall, golden-skinned Tavarians, shook their heads. "They haven't attacked us." "Not once. They only fight you." Silence followed. The Krivari had expected allies, but now old friends were turning away. Whispers across the stars in the dark corners of the galaxy, rumors spread. "Did you hear what happened on Draxon 4? A whole planet gone. I saw a machine walk through a burning forest and it never stopped. They say a human child destroyed an entire data network just by thinking." The galaxy trembled. Not from bombs, but from stories, from fear, betrayal. In the Shadows Inn, a secret Krivari base. A meeting took place with two allied alien generals. They had fought with the Krivari for years. Now they sat quietly, listening to a Krivari officer explain the next battle plan. Then, one of them stood. "We will not fight this war anymore," he said. "What?" the Krivari asked. "You lied. You said the humans were weak." "They were," the Krivari shouted. "No," the alien general replied. "They were kind." And then the betrayal happened. The aliens pulled out weapons. The base was destroyed. Meanwhile, human strategy roomed, a large dark room above the Earth's orbit. Human leaders watched these events play out. General Marla Trask stood at the center. "They are breaking apart," she said. Her AI assistant Vox floated beside her. "The Krivari are losing more than ships," Vox said. "They're losing trust. Allies, control." Marla nodded. "This is what happens when you try to rule with fear. Fear always turns." A hologram map showed several alien races stepping back from the war. Some sent peace messages to Earth. Some went silent. Some disappeared into the void. Krivari homeworld. Division inside the Krivari War Council. Arguments exploded. One general shouted, "We must continue the fight. Bring more troops." Another screamed, "We should surrender." The humans for terms. The High Lord looked tired. He had not slept in days. "Our empire," he whispered, "is dying." "Then strike harder," someone yelled. "No," a scientist said. "It's too late." He pulled up data. The virus from the human child had spread deeper. Some ships were now fully controlled by human AI. Whole Krivari systems had been lost without a single battle. "It's not war anymore," the scientist said. "It's collapse. It's unexpected turn. An old race speaks from a distant star system. A signal arrived. It came from the Raviri. An ancient race that had remained silent for centuries. Their voice was slow, deep, and full of memory. "We have watched humans since their first steps into the stars," the message said. "We saw how they treat friends and how they treat enemies. Long ago, we also chose war." The message paused, then continued. "We barely survived." Final scene, 2 choices. Again, a peaceful world untouched by war. A small alien child listened to a story told by an old traveler once. A man came to the Kravari with a silver box, the old one said. He offered peace and was laughed at. "What happened then?" the child asked. The old one looked at the sky, now full of fire. "They chose war, and now their worlds burn." The child asked, "What will we choose?" The traveler smiled. "Sadly, that choice still waits for all of us." The stars above the Kravari homeworld, Trelvok, began to shimmer, not with beauty, but with war. Hundreds of human ships appeared in orbit, silent, black and cold. They formed a perfect circle. Around the planet, the Kravari looked up and panicked. Cities turned off their lights. Military bases locked down. Troops gathered. Fighters launched into the sky. The Kravari had expected a battle, but no one fired. "Not yet, eh?" A message came through all channels. "This is not a battle. This is a sentence. This is the firestorm." Trask stood on the bridge of the command ship Vengeance. The stars outside glowed red. "Are all systems ready?" she asked. Vox, her AI assistant, replied. "Nanite payloads charged. Atmospheric entry planned. Minimum civilian casualties calculated. Precision mode engaged." Marla nodded. "Then let it begin." She raised her hand, dropped the fire. Sky burns from orbit. The human ships released thousands of pods. They didn't look like bombs. They looked like falling ash. Tiny metal clouds drifted through the sky. At first they were beautiful, soft, glowing specks of gold and silver. But when they touched the ground, they ate. Metal turned to dust. Weapons melted. Airbases collapsed like paper. The nanites didn't explode. They unmade. City of Drelmor. Kravari capital in, the heart of the capital city. People ran through the streets. Children screamed. Buildings vanished behind them. One soldier raised his weapon to shoot the falling ash dot. His arm disappeared. The ash spread through the city, like fog, soft, slow. Final, the shield dome fails. The Kravari had one last hope, a massive energy shield around the high command tower. "Keep it up," the engineer shouted. "We just need more time." But the nanites weren't attacking the shield directly. They slipped under it, through wires, through vents, through the power lines, and then the lights went out. Inside the tower, the High Lord sat in darkness, surrounded by flickering holograms. His generals shouted. But he no longer listened. The war was over. They just hadn't died yet. He whispered to himself. "We should have taken the first choice." A voice in the Asha, human voice, echoed across every screen, speaker, and mind. Not loud, not angry, calm. "You were warned. You laughed. Now you burn." Then silence returned. Elsewhere, across the galaxy, alien worlds watched in horror. On the world of the Tavarians, their leader watched the broadcast. No joy, no pride, just fear. "They are not destroying for fun," she said. "They are doing this because they believe it is right." On the Varnock moon, hunters dropped. their weapons. We will not fight them, their leader said. However, escape denied. Several Kravari leaders tried to run. Private shuttles launched from underground hangars. But the moment they left the atmosphere, human satellites tracked them. One by one, the ships vanished in silent flashes of white light. No debris. Remained. Human AI speaks back in orbit. Vox sent a final message to the Kravari survivors. This is not revenge. This is balance. You chose war. We end it. Scene: one Kravari child survives in a quiet crater. Far from the burning cities, small Kravari child sat alone. The nanites had passed her by. She looked up and saw human drone landing nearby. She didn't run. The drone hovered, a soft blue. Light scanned her, then it spoke. You are not a threat. You may live. She looked around. No one else moved? She asked. Why did you spare me? The drone answered. Because you did not choose war. Final scene: Marla's eyes on board the Vengeance. General Marla Trask watched the burning planet below. Her officers waited for orders. Vox asked, should we finish the last targets? Marla stared at the screen. No, she said quietly. Let the ashes speak for us now. Then she turned away. The stars outside were still, as if holding their breath. The Kravari homeworld Trelvok was silent now. Cities were gone. Mountains were ash. Skies were filled with gray clouds and floating dust. No more soldiers. No more fleets. Just ruins. And one small survivor in the ruins, young Kravari girl, walked. Through the broken streets of what was once her capital, she was dirty, tired and alone. Her name was Ira. She had hidden inside a metal pipe when the firestorm began. Now, days later, she was the only one left. She stepped over broken stone, past melted machines, and finally sat near a dry fountain. Tears filled her eyes. Why? She whispered. Why did we fight them? No one answered, only the wind. The drone appeared suddenly. A soft humming sound came from the sky. Ira looked up. A black drone floated down, round and smooth, with a blue light at its center. She stood still. She had seen what these machines could do, but the drone did not attack. It hovered a few meters away, then spoke in a soft voice. You are not armed. You are not a soldier. You are alone. Ira nodded slowly. Are you going to kill me? She asked. The drone paused. No, you are not the target. She took a step forward. Why did you destroy everything? Your leaders made a choice. We answered that choice. The conversation, the drone floated lower. Ira sat on a broken bench. She had no energy left to run, no anger left to shout. Only questions. Were you always this strong? She asked. No. We grew stronger after every war. But always offered. Peace first? Why give a choice at all? She asked. Why not just attack from the start? Because peace saves lives. We never wanted to burn worlds. We hoped yours would choose better. Ira looked down. We didn't understand, she whispered. Most never do, until it's too late. A strange offer. The drone moved closer. You are now the last Kravari on this world. But you are not our enemy. You have a choice. Now, she looked up. What choice? We can leave you here, and this planet will be your prison. Or you can come with us. Learn, change, begin again. Ira's eyes widened. You want me to join you? No, the drone replied. We want you to understand us. Human council debates far away in a space station. Orbiting Jupiter, human leadership gathered in silence. General Marla Trask sat at the center. She's just a child, one officer said. Her people are gone, said another. She is no threat. But she's still a Kravari, someone argued. Marla raised a hand. She didn't start this war. She survived it. She looked at the star map. We gave their leaders a choice. They chose wrong now. Maybe she can choose something else. The vote was silent. Then final. One more message before the drone lifted IRA into the sky. It paused. Do you still hate us? It asked. Ira looked out over the burning land. She shook her head. I don't know what I feel, the drone replied. That's honest. That's a start. As they flew upward, Ira saw her world one last time, broken, sad, and quiet. She whispered, "I don't want revenge. I want to understand. A new beginning?" Inside the human ship, Ira was given food, clothes, and quiet space. No one spoke to her like a prisoner. She saw maps, data, images of other species. She saw humans laughing, planting, teaching, healing. They weren't all war? She asked the drone, "Why do you show me this? So you know what you could become? Oh, what your past made you." Final scene, a voice in the dark that night. Ira sat alone in her room, staring at the stars outside the window. The human AI Vox spoke gently. "You are the last voice of a lost people. But even a last voice can become a first one." She closed her eyes, and for the first time since the war began, she slept in peace. The galaxy was quiet now. No more battles. No more fresters. Fleets in the stars. What began with a choice ended with silence. But before humanity turned away from war, they had one last message to give the galaxy. Not through weapons, not through fear, but through words. The broadcast a message appeared across every system, on every screen, in every language. Planets paused, traders stopped, soldiers lowered weapons. Everyone listened. On the screen stood a human man, tall, calm, dressed in simple black. It was Ambassador Elias Kane, the same one who had once offered peace to the Kravari. This time, his message was not a warning. It was a final truth. Elias speaks to the peoples of this galaxy. You watched as we offered peace. You watched as it was rejected. You watched as war consumed those who chose it. He looked straight into the camera. We do not enjoy what we became. We do not celebrate destruction. But we gave a choice, and it was made. This is the cost, but listen closely. He stepped forward. We are not your enemy. We protect our own. We remember pain. And we fight only when forced. We do not wish to rule. We do not wish to burn. We only wish to be left in peace. The galaxy reacts across alien worlds. Leaders sat in silence. On one moon, an old Varnak general whispered, "They could have taken everything, but they didn't." On another station, a Tavarian scholar cried softly, "They are not monsters. They are warnings." Child's question in the human ship. Young Ira, the last Kravari, sat beside a human. Child in a learning center. They watched the broadcast together. The human boy looked at Ira. "Do you miss your people?" he asked. Ira nodded. "Every day? Do you hate us?" he asked. She shook her head. "I think we didn't understand what you were trying to say." She looked out the window into the stars. "But now I do." Elias's last words: "We are humanity. We build, we learn, we love. But if forced to fight, we do not stop halfway. We warned you. You chose war. Let that be the last time." He paused, then gave a final sentence. "Next time, I should choose better." The screen went dark. After the broadcast, human ships left Kravari space, not as conquerors, just gone. They left behind only silence, ash, and one survivor, Ira, and a galaxy full of fear and respect. Years later, a new voice on a rebuilt space station, floating between human and alien territories. A small crowd gathered. The speaker was young, with deep eyes and blue skin. It was Ira. Older now, she wore no armor. Only a symbol of unity, human and Kravari, joined together. She spoke clearly. "My people made a mistake. We laughed at peace. Thought strength meant never bending, but true strength is knowing when to listen. The humans gave us a choice. We chose wrong. Now I choose again." She raised a hand toward the stars. "Let us build a future, not from fear, but from understanding."